Alright guys, here it is, the new vehicle for the channel. I'll put some clips and pictures of me picking up the truck as it got pretty dark and I really couldn't film on the way back as you wouldn't have been able to see anything. But what we got is a 95 Chevy 1500 regular cab short bed. So obviously kind of a hard configuration to find. Let me tell you, it is not pretty. It's got quite a bit of rust. The hood is crinkled or creased, and I'll show you that as well. The inside is pretty dirty. The story on this goes, it was sitting for 6 years, so this is basically a revival video here. As the next, as you see my list, my goal is going to get this thing running, get this, drivable, as it's not drivable right now. It's not running. So there's quite a few issues. So let me kind of go over a quick overview of kind of my plans with the truck, and then we'll go into taking a look at it and show you kind of all the issues and stuff that needs to be fixed right away. So starting out, my plans are going to be to get this thing running, as right now it doesn't run. Apparently the story is it got a new transmission not that long ago as the transmission went out. And that's why it sat for roughly 6 years or something like that. The engine does run. The guy sent me a video for that. But I went all the way into Michigan to pick this thing up. And the guy that I got it from was really nice. And he told me quite a bit about it. But this thing sat in the field for 6 years, so it's got quite a bit of rust, and that's kind of the main issue. And that's why I got it for $1,000 because it's got a lot of rust. But the goal for this truck is not to be a pristine vehicle. I want something that I can drive in the winter here in Wisconsin and not feel bad about it. And this is definitely going to be one of those vehicles that I don't need to feel bad about driving in the winter. So basically, what are my plans? Here, as you can see, we got a list going. We're going to call this Big Red, the 1995 OBS. So unless you guys can think of a different name, I don't know, that's the first one that obviously came to my mind. I'm kind of partial to these vehicles, as my first vehicle in high school was a 93 red 1500, but it was an extended cab. Obviously this is kind of going more for a little performance oriented build, and I'll get into that in a second. But first, we got a list of just things to basically get this thing running. We gotta fill the coolant. The battery is not secured down. There's a cable dangling that's hitting the exhaust. We gotta drain the fuel tank is the main thing, as the gas, it's got like half a tank, and that's been sitting there for 6 years. So I gotta drain the fuel tank. I got some parts on the way to give it a little bit of a tune-up as well. Clean the interior, all that good stuff. But obviously this is gonna be a work in progress. I wanna get it running and then, kind of go from there. So what are my future plans for this truck? Well, I actually already got an engine for this truck, and that's kind of how this started. So I picked up a 6.0 LY6, so it's actually out of a 2008 pickup truck. The engine looks super clean, and I'll show you that in a future video. But basically my plan is to do a turbo build, as I kind of want to mess with that a little bit. Obviously there's a lot more room underneath the hood of the trucks to be able to do the turbo builds. And then this is a 4-wheel drive configuration that I can drive in the winter, have fun, and turn up the boost maybe in the summer, tame it down during the winter, but still have fun with it. Obviously, the 2-wheel drive configurations are a lot of fun, but when you got 700 wheel horsepower, you can't really hook that up. So I'm kind of want to do the 4-wheel drive build and get a 4-wheel drive monster, or a launch monster, So basically, let's go around the truck and take a look at the condition of this thing and all the work that we have in store. All right, so starting out, you can see basically everything that could be rusted is rusted out. We got fenders rusted out. The lower cab corners are non-existent. The frame appears to be in still structurally sound shape. That is to be determined, I guess. The inner fender wells are pretty well rusted. I'll probably end up replacing those as well. And one thing to come to find out, the sheet metal for these vehicles is pretty cheap. So the bed, it does look rough, but this is all stuff that basically, I'll just rust preventive, to do a chassis saver. Like this is solid still. So I'm going to do a chassis saver, kind of shoot it with some spray paint. Like I said, the goal of this truck is not to be perfect. We got rust on the tailgate. This is still solid. I'm gonna chassis saver that and this spray bomb it. Again, this is something to drive in the winter. We will rip this bed liner out because I'm not going to keep this because this is gross. But apparently there's a hole cut in the bed to access the fuel pump, which I'll probably end up leaving because, that might be kind of nice. The door is shot, so I do have, like I said, got it in the works to basically get a new door. As you can see underneath, maybe it's kind of hard to see, but there's nothing left of this door. My hand disappears in here. So I will be getting a new door. There is no rocker panel. Nope, that is gone. So we will be cutting that out and learning how to do that. The interior is mostly there. I did get, I'll clean it up. A good cleaning will go a long ways. Let me get a light here. All right, there we go. The dome light doesn't really work. I gotta fix that, but I haven't cleaned anything or anything, so it's, the panel down there is for the back here. The glove box, I will need to probably find a new door for that. I think that's busted. That is there, but it's not closing. Definitely, it stinks. Definitely stinks. But the headliner appears to be pretty good. That little piece is broken, but not really a big deal. The dash is cracked and broken. That's fine. I'll probably glue that piece back in. It's over there. But otherwise, yeah. It's kind of all there. It's not horrible. It just, good cleaning. Little TLC, we will take the seats out, paint those. These are completely rusted. As you can, just imagine all the moisture coming into the truck. So it appears, we'll see how good the floor is right here. Yeah, that's pretty crunchy. So we'll probably have to replace some sheet metal in there too. But yeah, the window, somehow the window was like gooped in here. Yeah, not that great. But like I said, this is not going to be a perfect build. This is kind of a winter beater. That's kind of the goal. So the hood, I do have a new hood on the way. It's red, so I don't have to even paint it, which is nice. But apparently when they closed the hood, the guy had like the fuse box cover sitting here, and it kinked the hood right at the hinge. So, which is okay, because I'm not a super fan of this style of hood, I guess. I kind of just want it to maybe look like a stock vehicle. So the hood, $50, crazy. So I'll be picking that up hopefully this week. The guy said he was going to send me the air cleaner and a wheel bearing. So I still need that but like I said, I'm not going to be driving this for a little bit. We got to get it running first. But if I grab the flashlight again, it's dirty in here, but whatever, it's there. The battery is basically not secured. Also, I noticed too, luckily I did notice it, the battery cable is touching the exhaust because they just got this dangling in here. That's not gonna work. Plus guys, this vehicle has a 3-inch body lift on it, which I will be taking off. Eventually I will get some help and lift up the cab and the bed and remove that body lift, as my goal for this is to drop this vehicle. And you can, maybe you can see, there's some like spacers in here. But the goal is to get this dropped down, kind of lower center of gravity, because we're going for more of a sport truck feel. So let's get into it. This video is mostly going to be me trying to get this thing running. So I'm gonna start plucking things off the list. We will add it as we go, but basically, you know, stuff to basically get it ready to fire up. I'll probably be working on it this weekend too, as I got new fuel filter, spark plugs, that sort of stuff, because the spark plugs don't look like they've ever been changed. So we'll start by doing the small things and then getting the fuel tank drained. Probably undo it by wherever the filter is underneath there. Drain the fuel tank, get that ready to go so that we can hopefully start this up. The guy did put in a new fuel pump as well, and that appears to be working, but we need to drain the old fuel first before we can get it fired up. Hopefully the fuel tank it should be good. It's a plastic fuel tank, so really shouldn't have any corrosion in there, just besides the bad fuel. We'll fill it up with good fuel and see where we go. So yeah, let's have at her, guys. All right, guys, we're gonna start with the easy things on the list because, yeah, I just want to check some things off the list. So we're gonna fill this thing up with coolant, as I noticed it was a little low. See, guys, this is why you make a list, because then you can do this. Nice, that feels good. Secure the battery and the cable. So I want to do that kind of first, because when we're cranking it, if this thing does run, or when it runs, I should say, I definitely want to make sure that that battery cable is not touching the exhaust. All right, guys, so they had a bolt basically and a nut holding the battery terminal on, so I'm going to do that a little better. I got a battery stud I'm going to use instead, as that'll make a better connection. Ooh, I need to clean that up. And, you know, the thing is, like, you should clean up these terminals really good so that, you know, it can start properly, because if it's not making a good connection, it's not going to want to start. So this guy on the negative is really corroded too. It actually wasn't even letting me charge it because it was so corroded. So I cleaned up an old one that basically looks brand new now, and we're going to replace that. Oh yeah, you can see it's pretty corroded, so it's probably not making a very good connection. Alright, guys, I got the battery secured down and the cable tied up a little better, so we're going to cross that off the list. Under the car, looking at stuff, yeah, stuff is not good. One of the starter bolts is stripped out, so basically one bolt is holding it in, which is great. The shifter linkage isn't working, and it looks like it's like the sheave is pulled out from underneath the portion or whatever that connects to the mount underneath the dash. So I'll have to get a new shifter cable, because I don't know if it's really worth repairing, because I think I'll be able to use that in the future with the engine swap. So I'll just get a new one of those. Like I said, I have some of this stuff coming. I think I'm going to wait on draining the fuel tank for this weekend, as it's during the week right now. But yeah, so we'll keep going. Next, we'll pick up on the weekend, probably draining the fuel. Okay, I lied. It wasn't that late yet, so I popped the fuel filter off. It came off relatively easy. One fitting was kind of stuck to the line, but I was able to unscrew the filter basically from that line. The other one was free, so I'm just letting it drain right now. I will get that like a hose stuck on the end, basically try and pump the rest of the fuel out into a gas can and dispose properly, of course. But yeah, so I'm gonna let this drain, see if it stops. I don't know, it's probably just siphoning the fuel tank right now. So I'll hook up a hose here and get it pumped into a fuel tank. All right, guys, I got a piece of hose stuck over the fuel line, and now I'm gonna cycle the key, and hopefully it pumps into the gas tank and doesn't spew all over. Ooh, it sounds like it's pumping. Ooh, and the radio works too. So now I'm just gonna cycle the key on and off. All right, guys, I'm back. I did throw a new fuel filter in there. Link will be in the description. It's literally the cheapest one that I could find. And I threw some fresh gas in there, as I did get all of the old gas emptied out. The shift lever doesn't work, which I have a replacement for that, but right now I just put it in a park. It is currently it's probably like 5 degrees out, so pretty cold. I think it's supposed to get down to negative something tonight. So if I'm going to attempt to start it, if this thing starts, it's doing pretty good in this cold temperature weather. So I have a few other ignition tune-up parts to do that I just want to see if it starts first the way it is, and then new spark plugs and stuff like that will get put in, new wires to do a little ignition tune-up. But let's crank it over and see if this thing actually starts. All right, let's give it a shot. Ooh, let's see. I'm gonna hook up the battery tender. All right, let's give it another shot. All right, we got the juice. Let's give it a few sprays.
One eternity later.
All right, guys, I think I'm gonna jump to putting in the shift cable. I think we're really close to getting this thing running, but it just sounds like it's not hitting on all cylinders. The spark plugs probably need changing, and I got a new cap and rotor and stuff like that, and new plug wires. So I'm gonna do that. I'm probably gonna wait for a different day though, because it's super cold out. I'll probably try and start a little bit later too, but I want to get this shift cable in there, so if we do get it started, we can at least run it through the gears and stuff like that. So really, again, this is like the cheapest one on Amazon that I could find. I'll put the link in the description. But there's a big hole underneath the cab here where this goes through in that grommet. So I'm going to pop it off from the transmission, as well as inside the cab. And then try and, these just pop straight off, like you just put a screwdriver in between, pop them out. And this is under the dash, and this is down by the transmission. Get this fed through, so hopefully we can run it through all the gears. All right, after some fighting, I got the new shift cable in. And one thing basically that was screwing me up is this end can pop off, and it doesn't really want to go on the other way because there's like a tiny little tab, but if you force it, then it went on. Otherwise, I was like really twisting the cable, and then it made the shifter not want to work. It made it too difficult. I thought it needed to go on this end, but again, I had to twist it so much. I actually popped it into this side so that the cable was more neutral, I guess, and then that worked better. So it shifts through the gears. It's really not that easy, surprisingly. It's still pretty firm, but it does shift through the gears. I didn't want to try starting it one last time tonight. I think, we probably will have to do the ignition stuff, but let's see if we can get this thing running, because I want to just hear it a little bit. Plus I had to dismantle most of the interior, and I found like massive poop hordes from mice, so that's wonderful. even want to try. Let's squirt some starter fluid in there, see if it does anything. No, it's not even doing anything. Great. Quick break from the action. If you want to support the channel and get some cool merch, I opened a new Shopify store and I got some new merch for the new build, which we are calling Big Gary. Loud, fast, and ugly. And I got all the good stuff. T-shirts, hats. There's some denim blue tank tops for Big Gary as well, because obviously that's pretty fitting for this truck. And this is probably one of my favorite ones, and I wanted to order it and try it out and see the material. And I must say, this is a very high quality sweatshirt. It is very comfy, very well built. I'm wearing an extra large. I'm 6'3", 200 and some pounds, and it fits perfect. Very high quality build. This is gonna be my new favorite sweatshirt. So if you wanna support the channel and get some cool merch, check out my new Shopify store. Thanks, guys. All right, guys, I got new spark plugs and spark plug wires in and tidied them up, so hopefully they're not touching the exhaust manifolds anymore. And I got a new distributor in there. The distributor was loose as well, so the timing was probably off. I have no idea where the timing is right now. I got it advanced, I think, pretty far. So we're just gonna send it and see if this baby starts with the new spark plugs and stuff. So let's give her a shot. Plus I got most of the dash torn apart, trying to get the shifter linkage to work, which it does work now. So hopefully we'll see if maybe it moves. I put a little brake fluid in the reservoir as that was dry, as it is leaking on the ground. So yeah, that's awesome too. So let's see if it starts. All right, I also did put a new keychain on because, yeah, that's obviously the first thing you should do. So let's see. Prime. I do actually have brake pedal now. All right. Well, that didn't sound good. I might need to check my wires. Yeah. All right. I think I had the spark plug wires off one position on the distributor cap. So, yeah, that wasn't going to work. So let's see if this works better. Oh, yes. Look at that. That fired right up. Oh! That does not sound good, though. That does not sound good. Whoa, that did not sound good. Huh. That fired right up though. It has oil pressure. Huh. But honestly, it sounded like the sound was coming from the front here. Like something was rattling. It didn't really sound like, I don't know, it didn't really sound like engine noise. Gonna have to disconnect some stuff, I think. It is really cold out. I don't know if I'm gonna do that tonight. God, that thing fired right up though. We'll fire it up again. The fan spins good. All right, guys, we are back. It is the next day. It is still cold, but I'll show you what I found. I think the noise was possibly from the fan hitting the shroud. You can see I did kind of chop it away a little bit, but I I could see that it was hitting it. So I just tied it up out of the way with a zip tie there for now. We're going to give it another shot and see if that noise is still present. All right, let's go. That sounds much better. Oil pressure still sucks. Smells like gas, but it is running. There's holes in the exhaust everywhere, so that's awesome. Let's see. Yeah, definitely not the smoothest engine. I mean, it does sound pretty decent. I'm not gonna let it get super hot just because I need to vacuum all the mouse turds out of the engine bay. Otherwise they're gonna smoke, but I mean, it's running. Let's put it into gear. Because I kind of have some brake. Well, nope, now I don't. See if I can build some brake pressure. Yep, and my brake light's on. Probably because I'm out of fluid. All right, so we got a certified clapper on our hands. Yeah, it's pretty rough, but let's try starting it again and see if I can build some brake pressure to see if it goes into gear. All right, guys, now that I know that it runs and it does move on its own power, I added more fluid to the transmission. It was just low. It does go back and forth, but I have no brakes yet, so I really can't pull it out into the driveway at all or try it because it's can't stop. So I have it just, I was just going back and forth in between the two stops there. So now that I know that we're kind of in the right track, I am going to clean up this interior because it is filthy and I got kind of everything removed out. I'm just going to vacuum it up good, spiff it up a little bit so I can actually sit in there and not feel disgusting. Alright guys, so I got the truck able to back out and back in. So I backed it out and we are going to try pressure washing in the middle of winter. It took me a little bit to get the pressure washer unstuck, but I just want to get it cleaned off and maybe spray off some of the rust so I can see how bad the frame is, if it's, you know, worth saving basically. But I got the interior, I'm starting to put that back together, so I'll show you that in a little bit once I get everything washed up. And honestly, I just kind of want to make this thing look a little bit better because it sucks working on such a dirty piece of you know what. So let's clean it up a little bit. I'll put you on time lapse. We'll spray this whole thing down and see how it looks afterwards.
Alright guys, it has been a few days. I've been working on the truck off camera. I know you're not supposed to do that. Yeah, but I have been figuring some stuff out. I was able to put it basically down the street a little bit, but it wasn't shifting, so I got some got some stuff to figure out. It's shifting. It's shifting when I go through the gears manually, but not on its own. So I do have a speed sensor to see if that's the problem. If not, you know, it could be the speed sensor buffer box is what it looks like. So yeah, and I'll show you what I got going on right now. Basically, I got one brake caliper working yesterday to put it around, but I need to get the other front brake going, and I'll show you what I'm doing right now. So the front driver's side is the one that I got working. And so right now I pulled the fan off, and you can see all that nice rust, basically no core support, so that's awesome. But I pulled the old brake line out that runs kind of down along here, and I do have new brake lines that I got with the truck, so we'll get to that. But what I just did is I picked up, you know, a new basically hose because old one was rusted onto the bracket, and I wasn't going to fight with it. So those were only like $7 on Rock Auto, so pretty cheap. And then I actually did change the wheel bearing too. As you can see, that's new. I'll have to see if I can remember to show you on the driver's side. It was pretty straightforward. I got those on Rock Auto as well, but this one was bad. As you can see, I got it right here with some dog food for Mr. Blake. So he's out there chewing on a bone, but let's see, probably ain't gonna be. Yeah, well, it's bad. It definitely rocks a little bit, and that one was shot. I got a giant mess going on here, but yeah. So basically, trying to get this to break, and then I can see if I can put it around a little bit today, and I'll take you guys with this time for sure. But yeah, so let's get the other brake line installed. Also, oh yeah, see, there's Mr. Blake chewing on. Well, no, his bone's out there, but he was chewing on it. I did replace the lights too. I got those off Amazon. They look really nice. You know, fitment is okay. They were like 40 some bucks. I'll put a link in the description. Pretty happy with those. Came with the bulbs and everything. I got a bunch of parts back here. I got some new exhaust as well to put on eventually to quiet this thing down. But these are the brake lines that I got with the truck, and this is the front one that kind of goes down there. I got some new covers, random stuff at the junkyard, new back panel because that was cracked. You can see it's got a hole cut. I think I showed you that already for the fuel pump. I will eventually kind of tack that in, seal it, you know, basically get that sheet metal tacked back into place, and then I'll just seam seal it, because then I have an access hole if I need it. But then eventually I want to just, you know, rhino line this bed, clean it up a little bit. It should look pretty decent. But yeah, so let's see. Let's give you a quick update on the interior too. It's kind of a mess. I did pick up a new gauge, but I was kind of fighting with that and the speedometer working, because the gauge that I got was off eBay and it said the speedometer didn't work. So yeah, I'm just trying to see. I put the old gauge back in, and I did get, you know, all those gauges work except the speedo. I got to verify that, but I got panels back in, so I have, you know, that's the dash panel right there. But I do have to clean this up again. I got one of these Metra things to basically fill this gap. Oops, I'm gonna break it. But so that should work. I'll put a link in the description for that. That basically fills that instead of using the old one because it had a hole in it. But once I get this cleaned up a little bit, I did, let me see. It doesn't smell horrible. I did use an ozone generator on this. I gotta clean it up some more. I'll probably use it again, and then put some air fresheners in here. But this was the back panel that's cracked, so I got a new one of those, and I'll eventually put that in. But yeah, I got the CD player working and everything. And oh yeah, I did put a new switch in too, because this was busted. and my blinkers didn't seem like they were working. So I got this off Amazon as well. It's 2 screws basically right here, and then it's pretty open, so it wasn't too bad to basically just plug that back in. But now I got a new switch, and blinkers are working on that. So basically getting... Do you want me to throw the ball? Okay, hold on. And there it goes. All right, back to work. And so basically got this all ready to go. Yeah, I will have to replace some steering components as well, because just the short little drive that I had, those steering components are shot. So, oh yeah, one other thing. Geez, sorry guys, not bringing it along, but I did have to replace the IAC valve because it was idling high. And so I was like, okay, maybe that's bad. Checked it. Yeah, it definitely seemed bad. I got a new one off Amazon. It was only like $12 or $15 or something. And that solved it. Now it's idling good and goes into gear without stalling. So we'll show you all that when we go for a drive, hopefully in a little bit, once I get the brake line in. All right, quick update. I wasn't able to, let me show you. I wasn't able to get the bleeder valve open on there. She is rusted shut, and I have mangled her up pretty good. We got the brake line installed, and now that I think about it, I need to tighten that up before I forget. But we got the rest of the brake line installed. Got it shoved down there. I have to tidy up a few clips yet. Oh yeah, I guess I need to do that. Okay, let me do some quick stuff here. All right, I plugged that guy back in. I have no idea what that does. Got that out of the way. I do want to just start the truck. Like I said, wheel isn't on. Brake bleeder valve is stuck. I'm going to have to just change the calipers, which I need to redo the brakes anyways if I want to drive this thing. So I got the back end of the truck up on jack stands. As you can see, I just want to run it because I did throw the new speed sensor in. This is the old one. This is basically on the back of the T-case. It's a 1-inch socket. It was super simple to swap out. This is the one I got. We'll see if that works. So yeah, I just want to start the truck and run it through the gears a little bit and see what it does. I also can show you how well we got it to start up. This is a cold start. That's not bad. CD player's working. We'll pause that. Good oil pressure. All the gauges are working. I don't know if you can hear that, but the pulleys are making quite a bit of noise. God, that sounds horrible. Let's just see if it'll show speed. Oh, yeah, it does. Wow, that jumped. Okay, it's moving at least. Oh, yeah. I forgot, I don't have any rear brakes. Let's. All right, we'll just shut it off. Okay, so speed was definitely working, so that's good. And yeah, okay, that's all I really wanted to know. I think I might go get a caliper quick. All right, guys, we are back at it. I left off basically making sure that the speedometer worked on the truck, and it appears that it's now shifting through the gears because it knows what speed it's going. I didn't end up running to the O'Reilly's to get a brake caliper just because it was late. Kind of tidied some other stuff up in the truck first. I did end up ordering a new brake caliper, and then while I was at it, while I was in there, I ordered brake rotors and then a caliper for the other side. Just basically, I'm going to be driving this thing. Let's freshen up the brakes, and I'll show you now changing the driver's side. I already did the passenger side, went really easy. And I do have to install the new wheel bearing in the driver's side as well. So I'll show you that process as well. So I'll show you what parts that I got, and they were basically the cheapest ones I could get off Rock Auto. Ended up getting this one. This was a couple bucks more, and it is painted in the fins and the top hat, and just to prevent some corrosion a little bit, since this will be kind of a winter vehicle. And then this is the wheel bearing hub that I got off Rock Auto as well. I had previously gotten two of them, and then this is the brake caliper that I got, and I already put it in on the other side. I mean, not much to say about it. It was $15 after I send the cores back of the old ones. I mean, yeah, it's rebuilt. It's almost, for $15, it's kind of like, why even mess with those crappy rusted ones? And then I picked up these ceramic, which they gave like all new seals and stuff, brake pads. So I will keep that for future use because all the seals are good in the calipers. But I picked up some ceramic brake pads. Let's get a part number. That's what I ended up getting. I mean, ceramic brake pads, whatever, they got to be semi-decent, I guess. So we're going to give those a shot. And I got ceramic just so we don't have any noise issues with, the semi-metallic ones. So they went in fine on the passenger side. So let's get the driver one knocked out. I'll put you on time lapse, and we'll get all of this stuff pulled off. We'll pull off the wheel hub, which is relatively easy. The only thing I messed up was I was trying to get the wheel hub off without taking the axle nut off, and that kind of works better. So basically there's 3 large bolts. You take those off, and you access those through the hub, and then really take this nut off with your big Milwaukee Impact, which I did just get this not too long ago, and it is awesome. And that pops right off, and then it should walk pretty much out with a big hammer. So let's have at her.
All right, guys, it's the next day, and I am ready to take, well, we've had a name change too. We are calling this truck now Big Gary. My daughter came up with the name and kind of like it, so Big Gary it is. And we're going to take Big Gary out for a drive here. I got the brakes bled last night, and it was a little late to take it for a drive and stuff, so I wanted to do it during the daylight. So let's start it up, see if we got brakes, and go for a little cruise and see if it shifts through the gears and stuff, because that's what I'm most interested in right now, to make sure that it shifts and it actually drives. All right, so let's start it up. Feels like we got brakes. If you pump them up a little bit, it's better. I'm sure I didn't bleed them perfectly. so loud because there's like holes in the floor. I can hear all that. I'm not used to that. Oh my God, what the hell is that? So steering, I know we got some stuff to address there. Exhaust, definitely got to address some stuff there, which I do have some exhaust. I probably will include it in this video yet. All the gauges are working. I got basically the biggest muffler that I could get, which I'll show you because I'm planning on doing that pretty soon. Basically just a kind of a factory exhaust system to quiet this thing down and make it not sound like a POS. We are, ooh, I feel heat though. On my vents that don't have any vents. I mean, it's doing something. Let's put it, I mean, I feel heat. Well, hold it. What's going on? Now my blower fan's not working? What? I had that working. Alright, meet you back at the house. Alright, welcome back. So, got back from that test drive and my heater wasn't working, and I want to let you guys know I did some diagnosing here off camera, and basically it was the ignition switch, or the switch when you turn the key. It makes contacts in that switch and kind of sends power to everything. That wasn't working right, and I knew that because I was jiggling it, and then the heater would come on and off. So I knew that switch was probably bad. The contacts were, shorted out or, have worn out. So got a new one on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description for that. It was pretty easy to install because I already have the steering column covers all off. So basically just, it was pretty easy to install. So now, like I said, I have some new exhaust parts, as this thing has basically just like a Flowmaster 10 series. It's not much, and it's really not that loud in the cab, but it just kind of sounds like a POS truck. And so I wanted to make it a little quieter for just daily driving. So I'll show you what I picked up. Basically, I got some exhaust pipes from Summit, and these are basically just like Dynamax or Walker pipes. This one says Dynamax. I think this one is maybe Walker, but I'll put links in the description. I just got these off Summit. And then this, I basically got the biggest muffler that I thought I could fit. And so there'll be a little bit of custom trimming, but this is just a turbo muffler. And this muffler is only like 35 bucks. So we're gonna see what it can do and how it sounds with it. So let's get a stock or a startup as it currently sits, and then we'll get this thrown on, and then we'll do another clip of what the exhaust sounds like final. Nothing too impressive, but it just doesn't have really any tone or nothing. So kind of loud for daily driving, and it just makes the truck seem even rustier and crappier than it is. So yeah, these are all stock parts, so they should hopefully throw on pretty quick and easy, and hopefully it's just like one cut and clamp it on. All right, this is the old muffler that was on there. As you can see, she had some holes, and I had previously just cut it off because it was pretty junk. We got a thrush muffler. As you can see, it's pretty small. Now I'll take you underneath the truck and show you the new setup. It went in pretty easy, as it was basically a factory muffler, call it. Let's see. So we got
the exhaust pipe hanging out here. We got it hooked up. Hanger there, that was already there. Factory hanger. All right, this is what we got going over the axle. And I did have some extra clamps from the Camaro and stuff, so that worked out good. Muffler takes up, you know, it's a pretty good size, so I'm hoping this quiets it down quite a bit. And I cut it off basically up there. As you can see, cut it off roughly there. I probably could scoot this whole thing back a little bit more, as it's, this one's probably fine where it's at, but this rear section, I could probably scoot this one back just another inch because I am pretty close to the shock here. As you can see, I can still fit my finger in there, but our hand, but if I could get it back just a little bit and into this bend, it'd probably give it a little bit more clearance. But that's pretty much the best I can do right now. So yeah, let's start it up and see what it sounds like. All right, we're back, and I am going to take Big Gary for one final drive as I got the truck to a point where I'm going to end the video, but I wanted to do one drive and kind of show you the spot that I got it to. Definitely a ton more work because the more I dig into it, the more work I find, but I want to show you how I got the interior looking really good. And basically, I added like a sheet of steel in there for the floor delete on the driver's side. So at least now my feet won't fall through, so that's good. But obviously a lot more work, so let me show you where we're at and we'll go for one last drive in this video. All right. Oof, look at those door panels, we got that. We still have the door delete option and the rocker panel delete option, you know, but interior is looking good. Got it all back together. And yeah, so let's go for one final drive and see how this thing runs with new exhaust. And I did fill all the fluids as well in the front diff, rear diff, and transfer case, as they basically barely had any. So hopefully that's okay. All right, this is cold start. I haven't started up in probably, I don't know, a couple of weeks. This video has been a long time in the making, so I was just kind of mostly focusing on the interior and getting that a nice place to sit. But as there's a lot of suspension work to do yet, which I'll be doing in future videos. But yeah, let's see how it drives. Started up okay. Kind of a little rough. Got the bench seat. I do like that. Whoa, yeah, okay. We will pause that. There we go. CD player's working good. Got the speakers working. You know, it's semi kind of smooth. You know, it dries pretty good. Speedo seems like it's working good. So, in the next video, I will be tackling the steering, as it's basically all shot. I have a bunch of parts. That's probably going to take a little bit. Some improvement parts as well. Hopefully make this thing ride a little better. Well, and steer, because right now you can move the steering wheel quite a bit and it doesn't do anything. Alright, we got heat coming out. Got that fixed. That was that ignition switch. Front brakes are working good enough. Steering still sucks, but yeah, it can actually drive around. I'm not actually gonna start probably driving it until I get the steering fixed, because it's that bad. It's pretty kind of not really safe. So like I said, I'll be working on that. But yeah, got the interior where, you know, it's pretty decent. it's a nice spot, you know, nice spot to be. Definitely need to do some more cleaning on the outside. But yeah, overall pretty good. I think we'll end the video here. Make sure to stay tuned for some more Big Gary content, and hopefully let me know in the comments if you're excited about this project, as I think it's gonna be pretty fun. Obviously I got big plans. It's not gonna happen overnight, but it's a project, that's for sure, and it's a learning experience for me as well to get into some sheet metal, hopefully on Big Gary, because yeah, some sheet metal needs replacing really bad. So let me know in the comments and give this video a big thumbs up, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.